our next live session. So this is the 10th already. I hope you feel good today, and I hope that you will be very active and try to involve into our discussion. And for the beginning, I would like you to ask, how was your week for you? How did it seem to you? I mean, the tasks that you had to accomplish during the week. Dmitry.
Okay, again. The tasks were easy, but as the others have said, no time. The students have tests, and they don't have time to accomplish the assignments. So it's a pity from this point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I told you, if your students are busy right now, or if you don't have any more classes, you may do the tasks, I mean their home tasks, they can do after the vacation or during the vacation when they will be free. And you can post them in January, it's okay. So if you catch up with the tasks in January. So it's not a very big problem. The most important thing is to manage to do everything by the end of the project. Mhm. Okay, did you enjoy those activities that you were given? I mean, those tools.
Uh, For example, the first task where I had to listen to some projects with voice thread, huh?
Mhm.
So I was very pleased hearing Yana's voice. So I like it, her project and also the voice. It was very calm, but uh, it wasn't. I felt that I wasn't at school already. I was somewhere else.
Mhm.
Girls?
Okay, how about did you try working with Marable?
Yes, I tried. I tried to make some projects, but I was only on the half of the way, so I didn't manage to do it. But I tried. It was terrible.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Good morning, Irina.
Hello,
How are
do you
you?
hear me? Fine.
I do, but I don't know, the connection today is not very good, and I hear not very good all of you. So, but it's okay. Can you hear us, Irina?
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so it
How are
means
you today?
I'm fine. I'm glad to see all of you.
That's good.
It was a difficult week, but
Mhm.
it's the end of it.
Yes, and we are happy when the end of the week comes, right? So very soon will be the vacation, and we will feel better, the even. Okay, so we are discussing about the previous week, about the tasks that you had to do. And I want to see some opinions about those tasks. Veronica, how about you? What can you say about the tools that you were given?
It was interesting to explore all these tools of how to make a movie, and unfortunately, we had I had no time to explore all the examples that you gave us to search to look at, but I enjoyed working with all these tools, and they are easy to use, in fact.
Yes, so we try to find some tools that can be easy to use because we don't have so much time to spend on them. That's why we try to pick those that are very easy. Okay, but if you didn't have time to work with all that you had there, you can do it later. So you just
Yes,
save the links and you can access them later. Okay, thank you, Veronica. Tatiana, how about you? Tatiana, do you hear us?
Yeah,
Mhm.
like everyone, I enjoyed to explore the web tools using audios, and most of all, I like Tell Story because I have primary school pupils, and I think next week I will try to manage myself to create a story for my
Mhm.
little kids. I also enjoy to explore Laravel, and I manage myself to do the first and the second task. And I am sorry that I didn't have time to do the first task with assessment rubric. That is why I will do in next week.
Mhm.
And all of these tools are enjoyable and interactive. It is not only for the teachers and both for teachers and students.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. So you have a very good opportunity to explore all these tools because only this way we can do this. When you have to do something, so only those times you do. Because if you were by yourselves to explore those tools, I think you wouldn't explore so many of them. Just those that you need for a lesson or something like that. So I know on my by my experience, so I do the same. When I have to do something, I try to explore and see everything. Okay, so let's continue. So today, as you have seen the topic, and even to complete a rubric. Do you remember during the week supporting those projects? So today we are going to speak about how to assess students' video projects. And why did I choose this topic? Because I think that every time we teachers ask ourselves, how do I grade a project or a video presentation? So these are, I think, the most difficult things to do. I mean, multimedia activities and projects. How do you think? Is it difficult to assess a project? What is your opinion? Who wants to say?
I think it's really difficult to assess a project, especially when we do not have clear criteria of assessment. And it's hard to explain to students why you gave an 8 or a 9 if there is no clear explanation or there is no clear task with the clear criteria for them. But the rubrics that you proposed us to assess the speaking activity are really helpful because they increase the transparency when you assess, and it becomes clear to students what you expect from them and what you are going to give them the mark for. So I really, it really facilitates teachers' job, teachers' assessment when we have this rubric, and when it is given to students beforehand. For example, when they know what they have to pay attention to, and when they know what they will be graded for.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And now I would like you to look attentively at these questions. Which statement best describes how you feel about assessing? And you should choose the one that represents you. Dumitru, which one would you choose?
I'm reading. I'm still reading.
Sorry? So, Veronica, how about you?
I find it interesting and challenging because we didn't work with these rubrics till now, and
Okay.
it is easier even to assess, to grade a project, a test, even everything.
Okay, thank you. Natalia, how about you?
Okay, so I find it interesting for pupils to do such tasks, but it's more difficult for me to assess them. But still, I'm giving them a lot of bigger tasks, and they're very interested in doing them.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Irina, how about you?
I think that it's interesting and challenging, and at the same time, it's interesting because you have to, let's say, try to be objective, and that is actually challenging at the same time because it's hard sometimes to be objective. And when you want that your pupils understand your objectivity, then you have to, for example, I try to give them clear tasks and clear criteria of assessment, and there are usually no questions when you like are explicit with your student. That's what I think.
Okay. Tatiana, what is your opinion?
I think it's the second one. I accept it as a necessary part of the learning process because the students should know uh, the true meaning of their grade, the true what should they do, and what are they appreciated with an 8 or with a 9 or with 10. And this rubric allow us to explain the grade to the students, which is why I think it's a necessary part in the learning process.
Okay, thank you. Um, let's continue with Natalia.
So, sorry. I'm sorry. I think. Do you mean me, Natalia?
Yes,
Do you hear me?
we have two. Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Okay. So I find it interesting and challenging, and I also think that we should accept it as a necessary part of the learning process, as this helps students to understand and to improve in their teaching process. But if you find something interesting and challenging, when you find something challenging, you try to do something
Okay,
to
thank
improve something. So there, which is why when something is challenging, you try to make it more appropriate to you and for your students, as in the case of assessing. So you try to do your best to give the students the most or the objective grade, the objective criteria you want. And in this case, students will be um, satisfied with their results.
Okay, thank you. Now, the next question. When you give an assignment, do you provide students with a rubric and a list of criteria? And I would like you to choose the answer that describes you.
For example, I will give the second answer list, but not for every assignment. And for my mind, this is a mistake because sometimes when I'm not giving them a rubric with a list of criteria, there is some conflict between students and also between me and student because they want to know for what why they got those marks. Why don't they got a 10 or I don't know 9 and 8? That's why
Okay.
it helps when you have a criteria, a list of criteria and the rubric. That's why it's helpful.
Yes, that's true. Okay, thank you. Tatiana, how about you?
Yes, I have some rubrics, but not for every assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I have a rubric for the writing. Writing test papers, I think like every teacher. But this live session and even EFL blogging um, encouraged me to manage myself and to do all the best and to use not only for the writing skills rubric but also for the speaking and communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
I think I will do it.
For sure, you will. When we are busy, so we manage our time better, I think. Okay, so let's continue. Who is the next? Natalia?
So I have rubrics for assignment, but not for all of them. And sometimes I just give them oral uh, recommendations of what they have to do. Probably this is also my mistake, and this your breaks for video taught me how to work, and I will try to do more
Okay,
rubrics for
thank you.
different assignments.
And you, Veronica?
I seldom use rubrics, and I use them especially when my students write tests.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Okay,
my
thank you.
reason.
So, I want to ask you, what is the biggest challenge that you have in assessing a video presentation? What is the most difficult thing? How do you think? Natalia Borte. I will tell your surname because you are
Okay.
Natalia.
Good. So it depends what do you want to assess in your video presentation, but if you want to be a good one, and you should take into account all the criteria. So as we did in our task that you proposed, and if you have all those, so we have to be very attentive about their pronunciation, their fluency, their grammar mistakes, and in this case, so while we watch a video presentation, we should be very attentive, or at least we should watch it twice or three times, even more times, if we want to assess it and to be very objective in this case.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. Lina, what is your opinion?
I also think that time is the biggest change, biggest challenge, as we are pressed for time, and in order to be objective, we have uh, to look to watch every video very carefully and pay attention at many things. So it's speaking, fluency, accuracy, grammar, presentation, and things like that. Another challenge may also be, for example, I don't know, the content of what we watch. For example, may not suit to our taste or think, or the choice of the musical background, but I don't think that should be the main criteria of assessment. So the main criteria also depend on the skill that we assess. Is it speaking? Is it creativity, or I don't know. So that's my opinion.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. So, here I have some of the challenges that you have mentioned, and the first one is avoiding assessments that encourage shallow learning. Second, providing high quality individual feedback. The third, fairly assessing a diverse mix of students. Managing the volume of marking and coordinating the staff involved in marking. and the next one is minimizing plagiarism. Okay, so I think the most difficult is to assess a group project when we have group projects, and here comes the challenge that we are speaking about with for mixed groups of students. Okay, and here I will show you different types of assessments that you already know. So as you will know, we have different types. We have diagnostic or initial, and it is often undertaken at the beginning of a unit when you want to see the abilities or the knowledge that a student possesses. So you check the level of their knowledge, and this kind of assessment helps you to determine um, maybe the content that you are going to teach or the techniques that you will use during your teaching process. So the next type is formative assessment, and as you can see, it is the practice of building a cumulative record of student achievement. It is usually during a short period of time, and you check some very okay their knowledge for a unit maybe or for some lessons. So this way you can monitor the students' learning process, and it is of great help for teachers in order to see what are the weaknesses and the strengths of the student for a specific unit or topic, for example. And the next one is summative assessment, and this kind of assessment is given to students at the end of a unit or semester or year even, and it can be used formally to measure the level of achievement of learning outcomes. And it can also be used to judge program teaching unit of study effectiveness. So this way you can see how effective was your uh, teaching or your techniques that you have used during the year. And the next what I want to ask you is what are we assessing during a video presentation? So some of you said that we have to assess accuracy, fluency, right? What other things should be assessed? How do you think, Natalia? Can you hear us, Natalia?
I
Okay, let's go to someone
Okay,
else.
I'm
Tatiana,
here.
Tatiana, how about you?
Yeah, I think first of
Do you
all
assess?
we check and assess speaking skills. Then, like my colleague said, the accuracy, the presentation contact, how is used also the images and the music background in this video presentation. I think these are the most important parts of assessing.
I think that we can also assess vocabulary if we have give them a specific topic or a specific number of words or something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
And even the use of some grammar structures that we teach, and what if the video, if the pupils had to use those structures.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Uh, Okay, I think that as we are teaching English, first of all, we should the knowledge of the English language. So it means we can when we should also assess vocabulary, pronunciation, also the written form if they have to write something on their slides, also how correctly did they write the phrases or the grammar structures there. And for sure, and fluency also is very important. But if all these grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and even listening, so this means that we assess first of all their English level, and then the other things like fluency, accuracy, and so on, to be a complete and final and very good project.
Okay, thank you. And here I have prepared a list of things that we assess during a video presentation. And you can see language competence, accuracy, as you have mentioned, pronunciation, stress, intonation, syntax, vocabulary, cohesion, fluency, communication strategy, discourse competence, interactional competence, task completion, pragmatic social linguistic competence. And you can see topic knowledge, cultural knowledge, and other things. Of course, the list can continue. It depends on what we are focused on when we assess a video presentation. And the next question that I would like to ask you is, how do we design assignments? So the first one I have chosen here is, we need to develop clear assignments. So what is your opinion? Is it important to have clear assignments? And what do we need them? How do you think? Veronica.
I think that it is important to have clear assignments, because our students need to understand what we hope they are going to write or to create or to make a project. They need to understand the task in order to give us the feedback.
Yes, thank you. Natalia, do you hear us?
Yes. So I think they need an example, for example, from us to see what they're going to do. That's why I'm trying, first of all, myself to do something, and then to let them create. And I give them certain points they have to accomplish during the assessment.
Okay, thank you. Natalia?
I think it is not important, but it is necessary. So it's a kind of must. The students should understand, and they should know what should they do, what are the criteria, and so on. Of course, live examples are better, but in this case they are kind of I don't know, they try to follow those examples. But if we give them clear instruction of what their project should include, what vocabulary, what grammar structures, grammar patterns they should include, and so on, so for them it will be very clear what to do, and it will be easier for us to check their to assess their projects.
Okay, thank you. And here I would like to show you some of our colleagues' assignments for this week. And you can see here very clear assignments. So as you see, this is Irina's blog, and I have here print screen. So Irina, can you speak about the assignment of this week for your students?
Yeah, I have chosen 3 topics for them for their projects, topics that are in my curriculum. So I asked them to create a project on a voice thread or on MoveNote on the topics describing teachers, describing learners, and motivation. So the course is entitled English Didactics and modalities of planning. So I'm preparing students for their practices. That's why the course is entitled this way. So while giving the criteria, I mentioned that they have to they have to what they have to include in these videos. Um, Give them examples of vocabulary and of what they could present. Also, I gave them directions to the materials that they can use. It's on my another page that is called materials. They can use books and read them directly from my blog. In these books, they can find the material that can be used in their presentations. Also, I gave them the links to the sites of Move Notes and of VoiceThread, and explained that they had to create an account. So I hope that they will cope up with the assignment. So I'm expecting their videos to be sent to me.
For sure they will do, because as you also might give me very clear instructions, and we can easily follow them. Students can easily follow them in order to get a good project at the end. So this is very important to write it down, to give them clear instructions. As you can see, she gave some topics, also some vocabulary project. So the only thing is that they need to do is to start and work. And this kind of assignment is a very structured and good one, and it is very helpful for students. Thank you, Dina, for your work. And now let's go further. Here we have Rebecca's assignment, but she's not present today. And there are some also some instructions, directions given to participants, some vocabulary to use, some expressions that also will help students to make the project. And so another thing that is very important to design assignments are to develop a criteria list. And here you can see what does a criterion mean. So it's a kind of principle or standard by which something may be judged or decided. And I show you here some characteristics of a good criteria. Clearly stated, brief, observable, written in a language students understand. So one of the best things to use in assessing, and the easiest one for teachers, is the rubrics. So if you have used rubrics before, probably you know how easy it is to work with them. So they have become increasingly popular in teaching, and I would like to ask you, how do you think, when should the rubrics introduced in to the students? So at the beginning of the assignment, or after they do their assignment? So when should we introduce them the rubrics? Veronica, how do you
My
think?
opinion that I think that we have to. What was the question? Can you repeat it?
I asked, when should rubrics be introduced to students?
I think they should be introduced at the beginning, because in order to check something or to listen to something, or to we need to see the criteria in order to assess something correctly.
So you mean at the beginning of the assignment? Yes, when you give the assignment at the beginning, you should give them the rubrics as well, right?
Yes, this is my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. Dumitru, you wanted to say anything?
Yeah, I agree with Veronica, because the student will know what to think, what to say. They'll be concrete and the answer will be clear. So we'll be able to graduate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about you, Natalia? What do you usually do?
It is normal and it is very important to give rubrics at the beginning of their task. So in this way, they will know where they should pay attention for and what the smallest detail. They will take into account all the details, so it will be easier for them to work and easier for us to assess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So, rubrics allow students to understand the criteria for assessment before they start doing the assignment. So that's why it is important to give them rubrics at the beginning. Rubrics can help to make the evaluation of the task more objective and consistent. That's why rubrics are considered extremely effective for many classrooms activities. And today I am going to introduce you some of the rubrics generators, but it will be a little bit later. And here you can see an example of a template for a rubric with 4 dimensions and 3 levels of score quality. So this is a simple one, and as you can see here, you have the dimensions. So what do you want to assess? And here you can have the points that you give to your student. Um, why should we use the rubric? So rubrics are typically used with assessments that are subjective, as we have video presentations. And we have already mentioned that video presentations are the most difficult to assess. And that's why it is considered to be a subjective one. So because we have different opinions, different points of view, that's why it is a little bit more difficult. But if you use a rubric, so you can give students clear directions. They can see be, what will be assessed in their project. And this time, when you use a rubric for such kind of assignment, our assessment becomes more objective. And here we have some reasons why should we use a rubric. So they make the instructor's expectations clear to the students. They show students how to meet the instructor's expectations, what they need to do to be successful. Rubrics help students evaluate the quality of their work. They identify the specific elements an instructor uses to differentiate between qualities of performances. They help the students answer the question, why did I get a point taken off? If more than one person is evaluating the performance, it improves the consistency and objectivity of grading. And it may reduce the time it takes to grade if there are similarities among students regarding course or excellence in the course. So here you see some of the reasons we use rubrics, or we should use rubrics. And here I prepared for you some of the steps that can help us create a rubric. And you can see the first step should be select the performance target. So what do you want to assess? The second one, define the performance task, outline all expectations, determine the dimensions that will be assessed. For each of the dimensions, identify at least 3 different degrees of performance, at least 3, but you can mention more. So the more detail you include, so the better. And you can see here some example. Exemplary, at least 5 sources, intermediate, 3 sources, and novice, 3 sources. Assign points, 4 words, if you want. So you can give them from 1 to 5, or you can give them points like some words like excellent, good, and so on. Add a column to record the score for each dimension, as well as a row for the total score. And the last one, distribute copies of the rubric to students when they begin the task. That way, they will know exactly how they will be assessed. And here, as I told you, there are some rubric generators, some sites where you can create rubrics, and they are very helpful to teachers. Tell me, please, if you look through this list, did you use any of them? Are they known for you?
No.
No one?
No.
So one that I liked very much is Ruby Star. So they are very easy. This kind of rubric generator is very easy to be used, but I don't know why at the moment it doesn't work, this website. Probably there is a, I don't know, maybe they work on it. That's why it doesn't work. But it is one of the easiest, I can say, and it gives us a lot of um, criterias. And I would like to show you here some rubrics that are done by using Ruby Star, as you can see. So I have here a rubric to assess students' speaking activity. Can you see it?
Yes.
So I will try to make it better. So here you can write the name of the teacher, student's name, and here comes the rubric. So we have category, what do we assess? So this was for speaking activity, yeah. And here we have uh, the dimension. So the first one speaks clearly, and we have points from 4 to 1. So you can easily assess a student according to this rubric. Then I chose here content, then comprehension, enthusiasm, collaboration with peers, and listens to other presentations. So this was a class presentation during the class, and so this way students can be easily assessed. So this one is done with Ruby Star, as you can see. And I will show you here another one. So this is for an essay, to assess an essay. And here is the topic. It's easier to talk to women than men. So this is a persuasive essay, and here comes the dimensions and also the points, as you can see, the category, and here the score. How many points are students given? So you can see here for dimensions: attention grabber, sequencing, transitions, grammar and spelling, audience, closing paragraph. But you can include different things that you are interested in order to assess your students. And I will show you some of the sites uh, where we can create a rubric. So some of those that I showed you in the picture. So here you can see Easy Tagger. So we should click on Begin. So select your target grade level. So for example, we choose 6-4. Then you click on Continue, and here you can see Common Core Rubric Creation Tool. And you choose from this list, what do you need? For example, you want to assess speaking and listening, comprehension and collaboration, or presentation of knowledge and ideas. Let's take the second one. And here you are given a rubric. Yes? So you can choose whatever you want from here. Add rubric element, as you can see. So an element that you consider to be important for your students. Then here you have for every step that you take in your rubric maker, so you have a kind of guide. So it says to you what to do next. It's very easy to use this one, and you can easily create a rubric. So here you can see on this screen you can modify your selected rubric elements however you see fit. Click next to continue, and this way you continue working with this site and you get the rubric that you want. Another one is teacherscholastic.com. And here you go down and you can write here any dimension you want to assess. So this is just by yourself. So here you can see, you can write down accuracy, for example. Yes, and the score that you give, 5, 4, and so on. And this way you follow all the steps. Then preview if you want to see how your rubric looks. And after this you can print it and see there. I will not write everything, so you will explore it by yourself just to introduce you those slides to have an idea. And the next one is Teach Knowledge.com. And here you have also different tools. As you can see here, we have rubric maker tools, yeah, and all rubric makers or basic reading skills, behavior rubric, class participation. So let's take this one, for example, class participation. So here you can write school, title of a rubric, and the name. And you get every step in order to create the rubric. So these sites are very easy to be used. And by their help, you can get very nice rubrics. And that will help you in your activity. So what is your opinion about these kind of rubric generators? How do you think? Will they be helpful to you? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, who wants to share their opinions?
I think they help a lot teachers. So these tools are a kind of, let's call them rubrics for busy teachers.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so they will help us. We can choose whatever we want from there, but still it is a great plus for us.
Mm-hmm.
I will use them for sure.
Yes, and what is more important, you can modify the dimension that you choose. So they give you some examples, and then if you don't agree with what is given there, or you want to change anything, so you can do it easily. So this is also very creative for teachers. So you know what you assess during the video presentation, and those things you can include in your rubric. And this is very easy to use. Thank you, Natalia. How about you, Tatiana? Tatiana, do you hear us? Tatiana?
I consider that these rubrics make our work easier because we find the hints or suggestions when we uh, work with them, and it's easier for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you see, if you use these rubrics, um, you you can have a kind of individual assessment for students. I think your students will be very thankful to you, and they will not have uh, anything to object. Yes, because they will see what are they graded for. That's why they are really useful. Okay, so this is everything I wanted to introduce you today about rubrics and assessments. So the most important thing is what I wanted you to know about are the rubric generators. And you will see later the PowerPoint presentation posted on our blog, and there you can see those rubric generators, and you can use them, and I hope they will be very helpful to you. So I will not you keep any longer. I would like to thank you for your participation, and if you have anything to conclude to our session, please, you are welcome. If you want to say anything just for the end.
I'd like to thank you because this session was really helpful to many of us. because we can. So the image of rubric got more explicit to us. So and we have got new links to different sites when we can access and use these rubrics, change them and apply them in our teaching. And so we share opinions, and again we are together as a big team. So thank you for gathering us and sharing your knowledge concerning the assessment process, assessing the video. So you enlarged our knowledge and our horizons concerning this procedure of assessment that is not easy at all, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you too. Thank you all to be very active in the project, and I hope the following weeks will continue the same. I wish you to have a nice day and spend it as you want with your family. And I hope that next week will be easier for you. Goodbye and have a nice Sunday.
Bye. Thank you for your time.
Thank, thank you
Goodbye.
very much. Have a nice Sunday.
Thank you too. Bye.